Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman X5. In the last part we started off the game and took care of Grizzly Slash, and this is the Enigma menu. If you press R1 you can come over here. You can check your chances of success with the Enigma, and you can actually shoot it right off the bat if you ever want to. But either way, we beat Grizzly Slash in the last part, and now we're heading out to the next Maverick as Zero once again. Next up is Squid Adler, named after Steven Adler, former drummer of the band Guns N' Roses. And this stage starts off pretty hectic, because you're in a ride bike section just like Jet Stingray's stage from X4, and you need to get all these little blue orbs, and they are very tricky to get. If you don't get these, you're not getting the light capsule. Either way, a weird thing actually, the person who is responsible for naming all the Mavericks after Guns N' Roses members is actually the game's translator, Alison Court, otherwise known as Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2. And she named them after them just because her husband was a fan of the band. Hello? Are you alright? You couldn't walk here because the terrain is too badly damaged. Even the ride chaser nearly didn't make it. By the way, did you notice that there are energy items along the way? Those energy items and the door in front of you seem to be corresponding. If you have the items, shoot them at the door, then the door will be opened. This is why you need all those little blue things. They open up this door. But yeah, every single one of the Mavericks does have a different name in Japan, like Grizzly Slash is Crescent Grizzly, Squid Adler is Volt Kraken, so on and so forth. Oh yeah, we broke the door. I don't care about reading Alien that much right there. Hello again, Dr. Light. This is the program for the head part of the Falcon armor. Analyze and upload the data to X's main memory in a secure area. Once X uploads all 4 of the programs, the Falcon armor will be complete. With the head part equipped, X can use the special weapon using less energy. What? Now take advantage of your enhanced special weapons and triumph. I give my best to X. That was poorly translated. In fact, I can say for a fact, overall, because I've actually done a bit of a unusual thing. This entire mini-marathon, really, in that in most cases I have the game entirely recorded. A lab scientist is in custody. Save them and let them escape. There might be some cartridges in this laboratory that still work. We want to obtain one, don't we? Before I finish that sentence. I just rescued a Reploid there. The lock system of the shutter is broken. If you attack the lock system, it'll give power to it. You can possibly open the shutter with this way. However, since the lock system is almost broken, the circuit will soon break again. Please keep aware of the amount of time you'll have to open the shutter. This is the main gimmick of the stage. You have to open the shutters by attacking these little locks. It's pretty simple. Otherwise, I was saying, the Reploid just got there. What they do is that when you rescue them, you get an extra life, and you also get a bit of health restored. They're not on every level, but there's a lot in this one. Otherwise, I was saying before I got interrupted by Alia twice there, X5's script is not the best. There's a lot of proofreading needed. I immediately point to Crystal Ball from last part, and there are going to be a lot of small grammar errors later on in the game as well. Not as many as the sequel, I'll give it that, but it gets pretty bad. There are 2 kinds of lock systems. The color of the shutter and the lock system correspond to each other. So now there's 2 of them. If you do not... the reason we start that sentence. If you open the lock, but take too long unlocking the other one, the first one will open again, all the way, too, so you need to make sure you can take care of them simultaneously. Now, the reason I'm starting the early game with Zero is because Zero's special weapons really take care of the early game bosses, at least in my order, really well. Plus, because of the way the heart tanks in this game work, you know, how they only... each character... Well, actually, no, I haven't explained that because we haven't seen a heart tank yet. In X4... X5, and 6 for that matter, the heart containers only stick with the person that collected them. So if I collected 5 as X, those 5 would not go to 0. They would only stay with X. And because of that, I like to keep them as even as possible, hence why I tackle 4 stages with each character. Sadly, just due to the way that some heart tanks are hidden, it still ends up being extremely uneven. There's not many Zero can collect. A lot of them are X exclusive, sadly. Oh well. And this is kind of an annoying area. You have to make sure you can hit... Obviously, you still have to get the purple and the orange one in there simultaneously. But because of the spikes, this becomes kind of chaotic. Later on in the game, this becomes really easy because there's a way to neutralize spikes in this game slightly. Not as much as previous game. Well, not as much as you might think, but it's only with... I'm just going to shut up now because my speaking ability today, for some reason, is quite horrible. I blame 3 hours of sleep. Curse you, finals, for almost being here. By the way, X5's soundtrack is glorious. Not as good as X4's in a lot of ways, but it's still great. Though, the best PlayStation X game soundtrack is probably X6. Oh yeah, this enemy's kind of annoying. Zero doesn't have a way to damage those guys unless their little shields are raised, so... Pray and hope. X can take care of them with the 4th armor's special ability, but we can't yet. Either way, there's this switch over here, but this one's actually entirely optional. Why? That leads to the hard tank. However, up here, there's a bunch of spikes and these V crates. We can't do anything about up there yet, which is kind of a tease, but at least now we know where it is. Either way, we're coming up on Squid Adler, who I actually, you may remember, back in Mega Man 04, I said resembles quite a bit Tech Kraken. Or I said Tech Kraken resembles him.
Zero, I never expected you to come. Here. It must be an emergency.
You assumed right. You don't need me to explain anymore, do you?
Always so pushy. You haven't changed a bit. I made the right choice when I resigned as a hunter. I don't want to be a rude jerk like you. Hey!
Oh, come on. I just have a hard time listening to you babble. You know what I want, don't you?
You're free to take such a worthless item. But what a simpleton you are. Even if you get it, you can't change the fate of the Earth. Every Reploid has been infected by the virus and become a...
No! He's been infected. Relax. I'll put you out of your misery. Goodbye, Squid Adler. That dialogue's, by the way, changed depending on who is talking to the Maverick, obviously. And if you hear his X, he'll actually mention us Launch Octopus from X1. Because apparently this guy was friends with him. Either way, Squid Adler, for some reason, has an elect beam right on a Mega Man 1 that goes in 3 directions and then it'll go along the surface it touches. He can electrify the floor, but honestly, the Crescent Slash we got from Grizzly Slash, which is that spinning attack I love oh so much, decimates him. For future reference, by the way, he's weak against the next Maverick's weapon, but the Crescent Slash just destroys him. Grizzly Slash also gave us a double jump, by the way. And if you're playing as X, Grizzly Slash gave you some weird rolling cutter-like thing. After beating Squid Adler, we get... if you remember the Flame Uppercut that Zero has in a lot of the other games, it's that, only it's electric elemental. And X gets a not elect beam, because it fires the exact same way as elect beam. Forward, up and down, and will go along walls. Also, it's around here we start getting the choice to create items. We can create weapons and energy, weapons and life. Weapons and life is more or less always the best choice. Also, why am I on the screen for so long? And we got the head part tap. And the energy card. You've got around so many traps. Thanks to you, we now have a precious energy card. Squid used to be a hunter, but had become a maverick. It must be hard for you, even though it was your mission. Let's restore the peace for him. Alright. Emergency. Dynamo is attacking the hunter base. Fight back immediately. And every 2 Mavericks out of the halves you destroy, Dynamo will actually attack you. And we're tackling him as Zero. I forget if there's anything about Dynamo that's really special, though I'll admit I love his theme song. Oh, hey, the Enigma's in the background. Cool. Nice to meet you. You're Zero, aren't you? The famous and persistent hunter? What's it to you? Well, to stretch a point, I want to disturb what you're doing. Oh, don't worry. I just want to disturb you. I don't intend to kill you. But if you wish to fight to the death, don't you? You think you're so cool you don't care what I say. In that case, have it your way. I'll fight you until you die. Dynamo is a very simple fight because, yet again, weak to the Z-Saber more or less.
He likes to throw his own little weird katana thing from side to side in the room, occasionally doing a jump slash that you actually have to dash under him to avoid. He also has that buster attack, but he rarely ever uses that to his own advantage. If you're playing as X, he's a really hard fight because you don't have his weakness, but if you're Zero, it's really easy, though I got really close to dying because I am reckless in this game. And that's the first mid-stage down. Just as I thought, you are strong. You never let up. I would treat with this result. But I advise you to relax a little. Otherwise you'll die from all the stress. Well then, adios, amigo. Why does he get a cool warp out animation? But yeah, that's just kind of there as filler. And we don't get anything for beating him, he's just there to suck away an hour. Because, yeah, by the way, if you let those hours run out, the station does crash, which you don't want to happen. Because that leads you right into the bad ending. Either way, next up, we're heading after this guy as Zero once again. And may I introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest Maverick name in the entire series. This is Duff McWhalens. Named after Duff McKagan, former bassist of the rock band Guns N' Roses, and his Japanese name is Title Makoin. And that is a large thing. Also, fun fact, this music's actually a remix of Bubble Crab from Megaman X.2. Really good remix of that. Wow, it looks like the giant ship U-555 is coming right at you. I don't believe it. It belonged to a marine museum. What an incredible influence the Sigma virus has. But so be it. To secure the sea, we have no choice but to fight against the U-555. Be careful not to get stuck on the complicated terrain. And this is the worst stage in the game, because you have to backtrack to it at least twice. Why? It's like a good 6-minute autoscroller plus, and you're constantly being tailed by the U-555 here. Though I will say, that Reploid will always come out if you damage the thing enough. As Zero, the stage is really easy because you can take out its parts very quickly, but it's going to get really long and tedious. So let's see, what do I have for, what's it called? Trivia in the background while we do this. Let me look around. Actually, you know what? Let's look in the manual really quick for a bit more backstory in the actual, story. The year is 8021XX. The galaxy is at peace after centuries of fighting the Reploid Wars, even though it hasn't been that long. The moon is the center of a swarm of orbiting space colonies. The largest, a massive colony named Eurasia, is undergoing extensive renovation to make it the most colossal and most advanced of all orbiting outposts. When an unknown evil force occupies Eurasia, the peace collapses. Eurasia's artificial gravity device is wrecked. The colony spins out of orbit and is headed on a collision course towards Earth. The outpost will destroy Earth in 24 hours. That's incorrect already. If they collide, Earth will be totally destroyed. It could even vanish. The only way to shield the Earth is to deploy Enigma, an ancient particle cannon left over from the Reploid Wars. The future of the planet is entrusted to Megaman and Zero. Can they save the planet? Collect the parts to restart Enigma and halt the hurtling space outpost towards Eurasia before it annihilates Earth. Wow, that is horribly undetailed and partially incorrect. It also gives slight character bios about characters, actually looking at the manual. Like X tells him that he's the leader of the 17th unit. B-class, I don't even know he dislikes combat. Either way, here's the first out of like 3 mini-bosses. You're fighting to face the U-555. However, if you know how to use the slash technique as Zero, it's really quick and easy. Though I have to admit, destroying this thing is actually really satisfying because you really start to hate this thing after a while. And it's gone. And it's back. Now you're going through a falling section, more or less, trying to avoid this thing's missiles. Either way, let's look at the character bios real quick. Cygnus, he's new. When the previous general of the Hunters was on to take command of the Reploid Wars, Cygnus was selected for the general's post. Though his fighting abilities have not yet reached their peak, he has the most precise CPU out of all existing Reploids. Huh. And fun fact, in X7, Cygnus is actually voiced by the guy who voiced Alucard in the original Symphony of the Night. Aelia. Aelia started out as a researcher in Reploid engineering. She has mastered all programming languages and has extensive technical knowledge. She's been chosen as a navigator for the Hunters. Next up is Douglas. Douglas is a mechanic who makes and maintains everything for Hunters, from weapons and vehicles to facilities. He makes power-up parts for Mega Man X and Zero. Then there's this one. We only see this character twice throughout the game, not counting the intro. So this is weird. Lifesaver. Lifesaver supports hunters by doing maintenance on them and developing virus vaccines. That's all we really get about him. Either way, second fight is more of the same. Just do the dash trick, and hopefully you'll do enough damage to take him down really quickly. The C-Slash is also really good against him. Then there's a little thing about Dynamo about him being a mercenary hired by an unknown agency. Though he's a troublemaker, his skills as a hunter are higher than Special Class A, meaning he's around Zero's level. And he hangs around with Megaman X and Zero to bother them. That is all we get on them. What is this place? Are you in an old sunken ship? The U-555 is trying to escape. It went deep in this direction. Follow it. So yeah, the manual obviously has a lot of things wrong because reasons. Though coming up here is actually split in the path. If you head right, you get to one area. However, you might notice that one part in the ceiling looks different. Use Squid Adler's weapon against it, and you open it up. Up here is this stage's heart tank, one of like the 2 that Zero can get easily, or even possibly. X can't get up here for a long while, so I always give this one to Zero just so he can have a bit of extra health. Because no matter what in this game, X almost always outclasses Zero in health. Which makes some amount of sense. Zero should be kind of like the Proto Man of the series. Oh, there's Light Capsule. We can't get that until we get Duff McWhalens' weapon, by the way. What was it saying? Zero should be kind of like the Proto... Ow. Thankfully, the checkpoint's right here. Thankfully, X5 stages actually have a good amount of checkpoints to them. Zero should be kind of like the Proto Man of the series, where he does a lot more damage and has a lot more combat abilities. But he's a bit more fragile. I've always thought that should be his kind of character. At least in X's 1 through 6. 7 and 8 onwards, that can shift a little bit. And now we got a vertical climbing section. With this section really taking a long time. Duff McWhalens stage, thankfully with the route I take, and the fact that I bring a Zero here, I only have to revisit it once. But if you're only playing as X for some reason, this stage could take up to 3. In fact, I recommend it you would take 3 because then you can get the Falcon armor much earlier than you would otherwise. But yeah, as much as I love the song here, Duff McWhalens stage goes on way too long for its own good. I probably could have played a 3rd stage in this part if I didn't have to wait around for this U-555 thing. Though I do have to question how much when you revisit this stage, this thing regenerates. Oh yeah, if you haven't figured it out, well, first off, a 3rd mini-boss is that little light thing that just showed up there in the middle. To damage it, you actually have to damage the little blue thing to the bottom left of it. And then you can attack it because its shield's down. That blue thing does regenerate after some time, though, so you have to make sure you know how to take care of this thing carefully. And the little cannons below you regenerate almost instantaneously in this fight, so this can actually be very dangerous if you're not paying close enough attention. Like I seem to be at this point, really. Come on, I can make it, I can make it. Ah, damn it. But yeah, if you haven't figured it out by this point, Duff McWhalen is Squid Adler's weakness because I went out of order slightly. Mind you, X5 is one of the games I think I could get away with that early in the game. Either way, it's time for Duff McWhalen. He is actually weak against the Grizzly Slash's Crescent Slash. So, if you're playing a Zero, just get ready to Spin Slash a lot. Hi there. Zero, long time no see. I'm here to secure the ocean nearest the Hunter base. It has run high. The Enigma requires a large amount of hydrogen, so you must want the ocean in order to produce hydrogen. Precisely. Please cooperate. I've already been infected. Shall we fight for old time's sake? A duel, and I'll show no mercy. Your ship is about to sail. For the last time. That is slightly redundant, Zero. Either way, Duff McWhalen's actually a very simple maverick. He fires ice blocks at you as his main form of attack aside from touch damage, which will push you towards the wall and eventually crush you. The spikes behind him are instant kills, so don't touch them. And as you can see, Crescent Slash destroys him. Though you may have noticed the level thing below the boss's health. That is actually indicated by how many hours you have left until the thing crashes. The more you go past, the less there are, and the more you actually go past in case the thing crashes, the higher level the bosses get. And if they get really high level, they get really annoying. Either what he tried to do there was head to the left, and if he reaches all the way left, he'll come back to the right and rapid fire ice blocks to push you into the spikes. But either way, Duff McWhalens, pretty easy Maverick with his weakness. Nothing too bad, though his stage can burn in hell. After beating him, we get a Hyper Dash for Zero. He'll now damage things when he air dashes. And X gets this weird little shockwave attack. It's not really worth using. Weapons of Life as usual, though Weapons and Energy, you might want to do at least one of those at some point. And we got Hydrogen. We can produce hydrogen from this ocean. If only the Hunter base worked, then we wouldn't have to take water from the ocean. Now please return to the Hunter base. You have another mission to complete. Yes, we do. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we'll be heading out to the final Mavericks to complete the Enigma. See you guys then.